Welcome back to Ayaz Tech. In this video, I'm going to show you how to fetch data. So let's start. Let me quickly show you what we are going to cover in this video. We will install the project. I will guide you how to install a project and then we will open the VS Code. Then we will choose an API to send a request by using fetch API by using fetch function, and I will be using JSON placeholder. That is a free fake API for testing and prototyping. And then we will create a custom component users.ESX in the components directory, and the purpose of this component would be to display the API data. Then we will display the fetched data by passing data to the components, and we will map data to the UI elements. Okay. Then we will also discuss about how to handle the fetch errors. I will show you how to I will demonstrate by using try catch in the server actions, and we will also show you how to redirect if there is an error, and I will also show you how to handle errors with the error.TSX. So we will define an error boundary by creating error.TSX in our app directory, and also we will quickly style the UI that will display the data that we will fetch from the API, and then we will deploy the project to the Versal, and I will show you the each step for the deployment. Okay, so let's begin. So first of all, make sure you have your project set up and ready and working in your editor. If not, then you can create a new project by running this command npx create-next app at latest. By running this command, this would ask you a few questions like your project name, and if you want to use TypeScript, Tailwind CSS, source directory, and app directory. So opt in for the app directory because that is what we are going to use. Also select the Tailwind CSS as well in those options. Once your project is created, you have to open it in your favorite editor. We would be using the VS Code in this case. Once that is done, we will use the JSON placeholder. So let's do that. Let me show you my project. This is the project structure that you can see, and here in the page.tsx I will just get rid of the generated code and just add a simple code. Okay, and now let me show you in the browser. So let's reload it. Okay, you can see it is visible. Further, in the global.scss you can get rid of the generated code if you want from scratch. Okay, now let's get the data. So here I will create a function get users, and we will add the fetch method in it and call this endpoint /users from the JSON placeholder. And here you can add async to get rid of the .then chains, and here let me use a variable response is equal to await, and actually await should be here. Okay, after that we will convert it into the JSON by calling the JSON function, and then we will return the data. Okay, so now here I will call that function let users is equal to await get users, and in order to use await, here you need to add async in front of function, and once that is done, I will use the users. So let's add the heading users here, and here I will use the map function to display the list of the users. So here I will use users.map user. Okay, now let me display the data. So here we will add type any, save it. Okay, now let me show you. Here all of the users are visible. Tailwind CSS is installed, that's why it has reset all of the basic styling from the browser. I have commented that out, and now you can see the structure is looking really good now. So let me quickly explain. This page.tsx is currently a server-side component, and this function is basically server action. So with the addition of server action, you don't need to create the separate API endpoints. You can just make use of this and directly access it here. So you can use the server actions in the client components as well. So for that, let's suppose this is a client component. Here you will add use client, and if you want to make it client, then you will have to remove the async from here, and here you need to add the use state let users set users and import the use state from the React, and now you can cut it from here, and let's import the use effect and call it, and this function should be called once the component is mounted. And here in the second parameter we will add the empty array so that it could be mounted only once. It could be executed only once when component is mounted. And then I will add get users, and here you can use then, and once we receive the data we will set the users with that data. Okay, now you will notice that it is still working, but right now this is not a server component. This is not a server action right now. Let me show you why. I will show you in the inspect element. Go to the network and now reload it. Okay, and here you will notice that the requests that are going to the JSON placeholder are visible in your network. Anybody can see that you are sending requests to this API. So that's why it is not a server action. It is not happening on the server, it is happening on the client side. So if you want to hide this logic, you don't want to show it to the users, you can simply open the page, and in your function here you will have to add use server here. With that, this would become a server action. Okay, in this way your logic would be hidden and it would not be included in the client side. And okay, so here even if I added the use server here, it will not allow me to use that because you cannot define the server action inside the client component. So in order to make that possible, you have to create a server action separate in a separate file. So here in the app directory I will create another folder. You can add lib actions, and within the action you can add all of your actions. So here I will create users.ESX or TS, and within that you can, let me make it TSX. And now we will move our logic outside of this function. Let's cut it from here and paste it here. And you can use server only inside the server components, but if it is a client component then you cannot add it in here. Now as we are in a separate file, so no need to add use server here. You can simply add use server on the top like that. Okay, and now we need to import the get users. So let's import it. We did not export it yet, so let's export it in this way. Okay, now let me reload it and I will show you what is the difference now. There are some errors as well. It is saying that failed to fetch. Let me try it again. But other than that, you are able to see that now the request was sent, the data came in, but we cannot see the underhood logic. We cannot tell from the network that if request is being sent to the JSON placeholder. Okay, here if you want to handle it by yourself, you can add try catch block. So let's go to the user here. We can do this try, paste it here, and then use catch block, and here, and now here we can return an error message like this. Okay, and here you can add any to get rid of the error. Okay, now let's try it again. Let me reload it. Now it is saying undefined is not a function. So here I'm returning an error property in that object. So here in the page.tsx we'll get the response users. Here we can check if we have user or not in the response. So we can check if data.error, then written in the console, otherwise set the user. Okay, and now let's reload it. Now you can see there is no error. Even in the network there is no error. Okay, because now we handled the error properly. So in the console the errors are being shown because we have displayed the console error from here. You can use console log as well to display the error. So let's reload it. Okay, we got two error messages saying fetch failed. Okay, let me tell you why it is not working properly. Sometime it works and sometime not, and we are getting this specific error, fetch failed. And if you go to the network, you will see that it is saying that resource was requested insecurely, and in the preview you can see it is saying fetch failed. So this actually normally happens in nowadays in modern browsers. They apply a security. If you are using HTTP and sending request to the HTTPS, or if you are using HTTPS but sending request to the HTTP, they sometimes block your requests, so they don't allow that. So in order to fix that, for now you can remove the S from the HTTP, because now we are using HTTP localhost. Okay, if you do that, it will work fine. Save it, and now let's open our browser and let's reload it. Okay, this time you can see there is no error anywhere. Let me hard reload it. Okay, after hard reloading that, we can see that there is not same kind of error again, and everything went very well without any problem. Even if you open this, you will see that we are getting the response in the preview. Okay. Alright, so our data is now being displayed correctly. So this is a new thing that we learned today. So let's see what we have covered so far. We have created the server action. We also have used the try catch block. Here you can see we're using try catch here. And in let's say if you want to redirect user to some other page, then you can do that as well. For example, I create another page quickly here in the folder test, and within test folder I will create a file page.tsx. and now let's create the page component. If there is an error, you can also redirect user back to some other page if you want to, like you will import the redirect and pass them to the, actually the redirect should be imported from the next/navigation and redirect them to the test page. And now let's test it quickly. Here I will make the URL incorrect, save it, now reload it. Okay, you can see it has redirected me to the test page. Okay, when it redirect, it does not return anything to the page here. So in that case, the data gets undefined. So if there is undefined, then you cannot use the dot error here. Okay, so you can check that if there is no data, or if there is data but there is error property, and here you can add question mark here if you want to. Now save it. Now let's reload the home page, and this time it has redirected us to the test page without any error message. Okay. Alright, we have looked at the redirect as well. Now we have the revalidate path. Okay, so when you redirect someone to a specific page, you can also trigger the revalidate path. That means it will destroy the cache for that page. So for example, you created an invoice, and now if you simply redirect user back to the invoices page, they will see the old invoices even if you have created an invoice. So if you call that function before redirection, they will destroy the cache, and then that invoices page has to resend the request to the server to get the latest invoices. So in this way you can forcefully get the latest data. Okay, we have covered this. Next we need to talk about this strategy about handling fetch errors. So we have talked about the try catch, but there is another approach, that is error.TSX. So in this way we create the error boundary. So for that we have to create the error.TSX file. So let's quickly do that. So here in the app directory, along with the page.tsx, I will create a new file error.tsx, and as it mentioned here that it has to be client component, otherwise it will not work. So you must have to add use client in this error page. And now let's create our component, error component. Okay, now this will accept two props, error and reset. So here let's receive the error and reset. Okay, so reset is basically function that we can call. Okay, here let's display the error here, error.message. Okay, now we will intentionally produce an error and see what happens then, because whenever you throw an error, this error TSX would be triggered automatically. So let's quickly try. Here before the try catch block, I will directly throw an error. We'll save it. Now let's open the home page, double click on that, press enter, and we got an error. In order to test that error.tsx file, I need to convert it back to the server component. So let's remove all of these things, states, and here we will call the users, const users is equal to get users. We have to import this function from the users action, so make sure to import it. We already have imported that. Now you can add the await here, async. Okay, now let's reload it, and okay, now we can see that error page is visible. When error happened, it will display the error page in this way, but right now I cannot see any message. So there might be some other structure of this error. So I can simply stringify that error message and display it here. So use JSON.stringify error, save it, and you can see this is what we are getting. We can simply say something went wrong. Okay, I did a mistake here. Instead of this, we should have received it in curly braces. Okay, like that. And here we will receive error and reset. Okay, now if you remove that something went wrong, you will see the exactly same message that we sent. You can see this error is basically coming from the server action that we sent from here. Okay, so let's say if I change the error, save it, then you will see a different error. Okay, and after that, let me add one last thing after that. That would be button, and here we will add a retry, and here we will add the click event on click, and here we'll call the reset function. I passed the reset function, so it will call it automatically. Now let me reload it, and let's clear everything before we try. Hit the network and clear everything. Now let's click on the retry, and you can see it retried all of those requests. It retried that server action as well, but as there was a genuine problem, we threw the error intentionally. That's why again error happened. So in some real world cases, sometimes server is down and you get an error, and if you want to give user opportunity to retry, you can give them this button. If they click on that, the same request with the same payload would be sent to the server again, and in next attempt it might work for them. So this is very helpful in that case. So as it is written, this is function to reset error boundary. When executed, the function will try to re-render the route segment. Okay, next is styling the UI. So we already have covered almost a lot of things. So let me just revert the errors from here. I'm going to get rid of that and let me fix it. Okay, now let's reload it. Let me go to the home page. Okay, now it worked. There is no error and the data has been loaded. So now we can style it. We have multiple options to style it. We can use the inline style, CSS files, or CSS modules, or Tailwind CSS. So let's start from the inline style. So let's say here you want to add a border around the every user. For that, let's go to the page.tsx, and here I will add style and add width 100 pixels and height 100 pixels and border 1 pixel solid light gray. Okay, this is how it is looking. The width is too small, so we have to increase the width to maybe 300 pixels, and let's add margin bottom below every box. Save it, and height is also too small, so let me increase it to 170. All right, so this is one way to design it. Second option is that you can create a variable, let styles is equal to, and cut all of these styles and pass the styles variable here and put the object here. All right, it will still work. The second option is that you will create the external CSS file. So here let me create a file like home.css, and now I will cut all of these styles from here, and let's get rid of this, and let's remove this as well. And now in the home CSS I will paste my styles. We have to fix some things like remove the double quotes. Also we have to add semicolon instead of comma. Also we have to add the wrapper user. Okay, we have added the selector, and this has to have the dash in the name. Okay, great. Now let's add this class to every user. For that, here I will add the class user. Now we need to import that CSS file, import home.css, save it, and now you can see that styles are still being visible and these are working. The second approach is that, but before showing that third approach, let me show you the class name in the inspect element. Here you can see the class is user. Okay, so but another approach is that the CSS modules. So in order to CSS modules, you have to put module at the end of the file name, and now here let's import module.css, and here you need to get them in a variable like import styles from this. Okay, now copy the style variable, and here instead of putting the hard coding the class name, you will just use user styles dot user. Okay, save it. Now you would notice that it is still working, but this time if you look at this class name is very unique. So in this way you don't have to worry about making the class names unique for every component, because even if you use the same class names or selectors, it will never conflict with the styles of other components. So this is a very good way by using modules. In this way you don't have to worry about making your class names unique. Okay, after that, another option is that if you don't want to use CSS, we have the option Tailwind. If you have opted in for the Tailwind while installation process of Next.js, you can directly use a Tailwind as well. So here, instead of using these styles, I will just add this, and here I will add Tailwind CSS classes like w dash, and here you can add maybe 300 pixels and h dash 200 pixels and mb 10, and here you can add border and border gray 40 or 50, and here you can add border 2. Let's remove this one and let's just reload it. By the way, these are not working. The reason that, remember, we commented out the Tailwind CSS in here. So now if you reload it, you will see that everything is working again. Okay, so let's go back to our page, and here let me make it darker that, and you can see now it is working very well. So this is how you can use Tailwind CSS classes, and if you don't like in this way, just cut it from here and add something again like styles.users, and in the home.module you can delete all of these and use apply and put all of those Tailwind CSS classes like that, and it will still work. Reload it, and if you inspect element, you would notice that they have the unique class name, but they are still working with the help of the Tailwind CSS. Okay, next is the deploying your project. So you can deploy your project to anywhere. Versal is very easy to use for the deployment, so we will use the Versal in this case. Okay, now I'm going to create my new repo because that is the requirement to deploy on the Versal. So that is the convenient way. So here in the repository name, I will add anything temporary Next.js, so that I could delete it after it is done. So now once I do that, click on the create repository. You can make it private as well if you want to. And once that is done, copy the URL and open the editor, open the root directory of your project, and I will type git remote add origin this. Okay, the origin has been added. Now let me create a commit, git add git commit -m. So I will add a commit message, files, press enter. Now I will push it, git push origin main. With that, if you reload it, you will notice that it is deployed here on the GitHub. But now we have to set up Versal. So go to the Versal, click on the add new, click on the project, and here you will click on the connect with GitHub. Okay, once you open that, you will see the list of repositories in your GitHub account. This is the one that we created 2 minutes ago. So click on the import button, and here you can make if you want to make changes, you can make changes here, but most of the time you don't have to make any change here. So just click on the deploy and give it some time, and it would be deployed after some time. Okay, you can see that it has been deployed and it is showing the preview as well. So if you click on that, continue to the dashboard, it will show you your project, and from here you will see a button here, visit. Click on that, it will open your website. Okay, you can see that your website has been deployed. So you saw that how easy it was to deploy your Next.js project to the Versal. So as now it is connected with the Versal, so whenever you make any change in your project, and if you commit and deploy it to the GitHub again, it will automatically deploy those changes to the Versal, so you don't have to touch the Versal again. Alright, I think that's all for now for this video. I hope that this video was useful for you. If this video helped you in any way, then please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon to get notified for my upcoming videos, and please like and share this video. If you have any questions or feedback or suggestions, then please leave them in the comment section below, and I will do my best to reply them as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.